So today I am going to show you how to make my ultimate super cheesy mac and cheese. Right, so now why am I calling this ultimate mac and cheese? Now the reason it's ultimate is because it is literally my favourite comfort food. When the weather's crap out there, it's the UK, even the summers aren't great, I am enjoying this mac and cheese. And what makes it so amazing? Well, first of all, we are making a roux from scratch. So that forms the base of the sauce. And then the 5 cheese blend that we use in here. Now each cheese complements perfectly the other. So we've got 2 types of cheddar. So we've got a mild and a sharp mature cheddar. We've got red Leicester cheese in there. Then there's a Emmental, which gives a kind of nutty flavour, again adds a creaminess to it, and then mozzarella just to give it that ultimate cheese pull. Pasta choice, for me, macaroni has to be macaroni, but I know there are other pasta choice that people prefer. Some people like a spirali, but again, for me, the macaroni, these small tubes just perfectly capture that cheese sauce in every single bite. So first up, we are going to bring a pan of water to the boil. This is for the pasta. So let's just drop in some water. Now, as most people know, pasta will expand if you're using dried pasta. So always use more sauce, normally double the amount to the pasta you need. Now, I learned a trick from somebody years ago, is always add a decent amount of salt to the water for the pasta. So now we are going to wait for that to boil. You never add pasta to cold water. You want it to boil first because it helps to get that starch out rather than for it to sit in that water. So whilst that's coming to the boil, I'm just going to talk to you about how we make the roux. So this is a classic kind of sauce base that's used for things like bechamel sauce for your lasagna, and it's exactly the same concept here for the mac and cheese. So if we just get this pan on here, medium heat is plenty. I've got 50 grams of butter here, so just a non-salted butter. You can go for salted butter, but then just be careful with the seasoning if you're adding extra salt into it. So we just melt the butter over the pan. You can see that's instantly melting. So as the butter is melting, I'll just talk to you about the flour. Just using a plain flour, so any decent plain flour is fine. About 2 tablespoons of that, which goes with the 50 grams of butter. So as that's melting away, that's almost done, bubbling away. Be careful not to brown the butter because you don't want it to burn. So I'm just going to turn that down a little bit just so we're keeping that golden colour. And then let's go in with the flour. You can always add more, to start with less. A whisk is probably ideal to use to keep it from forming any lumps. I am just using a wooden spoon here, which I find can do a job well. It just requires a little bit more elbow grease. If you just keep stirring that, you don't really want to stop when it comes to making this roux. And as I say, you don't want to stop. I am going to stop momentarily just for a second, just to make sure we put in that pasta into the water now. So as that's nicely boiling away, we'll drop that pasta in. I'll let that come back up to the boil. I will then drop it to a simmer. About 10-11 minutes that pasta will be done, but always just check the instructions on the pack, as they can be as little as 8 minutes and some can be up to 15 minutes. Right, so that is nicely forming there. Now you can see it's still a little bit loose, so we want to bring it to a paste. So we're just going to add a little bit more flour. And again, give that a stir. Multitasking whilst I turn down. Caught that. Nearly went over. Right, let's keep this stirring. Probably a little bit more butter. Now I like to get the flour cooked nicely before adding any other spices or herbs or anything you might want to add to the base. Keep it quite simple. The only things I will add to this will be salt, just a little bit of smoked paprika and a little bit of nutmeg. Again, these are flavours that work so well with that 5 cheese blend. Right, that is almost ready, and we're about there with the rest of the flour now. See, that pasta is cooking nicely as well. And there you go. If you can see from there, Keeping that constantly stirring just reduces any lumps in that base of the sauce. And then just the last bit of flour. I always find just gradually adding the flour helps you to know if you've got the right consistency, because you can always add more once you're kind of stirring it in and it's all absorbed into that butter. That is looking amazing. I don't know about you, but I love that smell of melted butter. I think it probably reminds me of cinemas in the 90s. I don't know if any of you are old enough to remember cinemas in the 90s when we used to get butter, melted butter on popcorn. Brilliant. Right, so that's coming together really nicely now. All that flour's in. Right, pasta's coming along. I'm just going to turn that down a little bit more. Oh, there you go, perfect. Now you can see that all coming together like a paste. It's smooth, there's no lumps. That looks and smells amazing. Just going to add just a really small amount of salt to this. So I'm going to say, what, maybe quarter teaspoon, and then a little bit of this smoked paprika. Now, I'm a big fan of the smoked paprika. I think it adds a real kind of depth and element to the sauce. And then just a little bit, again, maybe quarter teaspoon of nutmeg. Give that a good stir. I'm just going to bring that all together to form this nice kind of golden colour whilst constantly stirring. And now we are ready to go in with the milk. I'm just going to gradually drop in and mix, and then add a little bit more as you go along. There we go, and you'll just keep stirring, it'll bring to a nice thick paste again. Oh, you can really smell that nutmeg as well, even though we've used such a small amount, but it does add a beautiful flavour. So it's just a pint of milk I'm using here, which is just about enough for the amount of pasta we've got. Now, just to talk about the cheese as we're waiting for this to come together. Again, now I've grated the cheese myself. I prefer to get the blocks of cheese and grate it. You can buy pre-grated cheese, and I know a lot of people use that. I prefer to grate it myself because I just find it has a bit of a film on the cheese, and it doesn't come together as nice. Just going to turn the heat up a little bit just to get a light simmer and a bit of heat through that sauce. So today we're not actually baking this mac and cheese. Now, I know a lot of people really do like that baked mac and cheese. Now, as much as I like baked cheese when it comes to something like a gratin, a lasagna, but with mac and cheese, I just like really creamy with that cheese pull. To me, that's the best thing. And we will, towards the end, add something for a little texture on top of it, which adds a little bit of a crunch to it. Right, so that's coming together now really nicely. Just getting out those last few lumps that form in the sauce. That looks really nice now. Okay, beautiful. So once that just simmers, I'm going to bring it up a little bit more, and then we'll start adding the cheese in. And again, we'll go in gradually. We don't need to add all the cheese we need in there because we just want it to mix through and blend nicely. So there we are, that beautiful 5 blend of cheese. Let's go in with a couple of pinches to start with, couple and a bit, and then we'll just start stirring that cheese in, and you'll just see it kind of forming together and making this beautiful kind of yellowy colour. And you can feel the consistency as you're stirring. You can instantly kind of feel the consistency change with the cheese in there. It's just getting thicker. There you go. Now a little bit more in there, I think, to give that cheese pull. Another handful. Now that looks amazing. Right, brilliant. Right, now I'm just gonna let that sit for a little bit on a simmer, just for a few seconds while I go and drain this pasta. Right, lovely. So the pasta has now been drained and just rinsed in cold water. Back to, oh, this sauce is beautiful, and that is really coming together. I've kept the pasta in the pan because what we will be doing is we will be bringing the sauce to the pasta. I never really know the debate whether it's the pasta to the sauce to the pasta. I go with what I feel like on the day. So I think that cheese, look at that. That looks almost ready. Now, when I think it's ready, I'll just add a little bit more cheese. So I'm going to finish off what we've got there. The cheesier the better for me. It is called mac and cheese after all. Right, let's just get those last little bits melted in there. It's simmering away nicely now, so it's not taking long at all for that to melt. You can really see that forming together. last few little bits in there. Oh, I am looking forward to eating this. I should stop cooking on an empty stomach, really, shouldn't I? Look at that, it's come together as a perfect blend now. And I think we are about ready to start bringing the sauce to the pasta. So let's go in with about half of it first. Give it a good stir just to make sure we've got a decent amount of pasta sauce to pasta mix. Oh wow, look at that. I think that's perfect amount in there. Creamy, cheesy, perfect comfort food. And then I'm just gonna give that just a minute or so, just to mix on a really low heat, just so all that cheese, make sure that's melted and it's all coming together with that pasta. The beauty of cooking the pasta and then just draining it in the cold water after, you're just kind of getting rid of any excess salt in there. So you're not over salting the dish, and it just keeps the pasta separate as well, so it doesn't all stick in one piece. I'd say it's about ready, so let's turn this off. Extra cheese there should we need it, but we've got just the right amount in here. Let's plate this up, because I am getting hungry now. Right, this is gonna be a half-size portion, which is basically a meal for two for one. Oh, look at that, that looks amazing. Now that is pretty much ready to eat. However, I really like to add a little bit of extra flavour, but also a different texture with a crunch, is these crispy fried onions. Now you can buy these from most supermarkets or shops that you'll find around the country, and I just like a generous sprinkling over the top. So you are still getting that crunchy texture. And I'd just like to just add just a little bit of oregano over the top. Really beautiful aromatic herb, adds a lot of flavour to it, and it looks nice as well. Now that is my ultimate mac and cheese. Right, now I hope you don't mind, but I am gonna dig into this. Oh my God, creamy macaroni and cheese. No, I really think you should make this. This is amazing. If you've made it this far, you're an absolute legend, so thank you for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please hit the like button and subscribe for more videos like this. It does help my algorithm and it helps me to know if you like this. See you next time.